Hi Zimbabwe, I'm so excited to be coming into your homes this Wednesday. Unfortunately, I'm not live, but I've left this message for you. I care so much. I love you and I want to see you succeed in each and everything that you're going to be applying your mind to. And I'm going to be challenging you the rest of this year to be taking charge of your life, because I know you can. And Tara and Ayat, guys, I respect the work you're continuously doing. And Zimbabwe, wherever you're tuning, I always want you to know we don't take you for granted. We respect you for giving us your time, and I'm not going to waste it. And today I want to talk on something a bit different, but it's in line with what we've been doing for the past years. I want to talk about challenging your limits. You know, many of us, we have been suffering from many limits. And this year, my assignment, my conviction is that you can rise beyond your limits. And I don't know what those limits are, but I want to challenge you to do that. But this is the point that I want you to realize, and I've been saying it over and over again. Success is not for crybabies. Life is not fair. Get used to that. This is the reason why somebody with an MBA degree with a very good mark is not employed anywhere, and someone with no degree who is actually trying to work towards one is employed. And this is the reason why someone who is mediocre is even getting the best of opportunities, yet you are struggling to get one. Life is not fair. And the moment you realize that life is not fair, you have to realize that you have to fight to defend your portion. Being nice is not going to take you anywhere. And I like this statement. An animal in the wilderness can be nice, but that's not going to stop a lion from eating it. Being nice is not going to safeguard you. Being nice is not going to protect you. What am I asking you? Take charge, be strong, be firm. Identify the future that you want and don't be apologetic about it. The problem with many people, we live life to please many people who sometimes they don't even care. And this is what I'm asking you to do. What is your goal? What is it that is on your heart? What is it that pushes you out of bed every morning? And when you think about it, what do you think about? And one of the things that you're always facing is, how can I get to do that? How can I get to go to the next level? And one of the things that I'm going to tell you, there are always going to be limits upon your life. Why? Because they come from various places, and I'm going to share this with you in the next few minutes. But one thing I want you to realize about limits, in life there are two types of limits. There are what I call positive limits. These are there to protect you, meaning when you eat, you obviously need to observe your limits, otherwise you're going to grow fat. And I have told you, you can't complain about weight and continue to eat. You can't complain about being overweight and do nothing about it. You'll die. But I'm going to challenge you, as long as you don't want the state of affairs, take charge of it. But this is the point. Human beings are born without limits. This is the reason why when you were born, you used to say, when I grow up, I want to be a pilot. I want to marry a model. I want to be a doctor. And when you grow up in terms of age, you look at the model and you're like, whoo, is this achievable? And the big no is coming to you. You think of being a lawyer, being a pilot, and you're saying, wow, this is not achievable. Why? Because as we're growing, we get to impose limits on our lives. But one of the things that I believe, if your life is going to achieve, is going to somewhere, you want to be able to live like a baby. One thing I like about babies, they don't care about the price. They care about what is on their mind. Mama, I want to buy an aeroplane. They don't even know the price. But what's the secret? They are unlimited. And this is the point. You want to learn to live a life without limitations. But this is the secret. You start to live that life the moment you start working on your mindset. Meaning the greatest form of limitation is our way of thinking. And this is why one person once said, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And this is one of the things that I've always been telling people. What affects many of us is not what other people think about us, it's what we think about ourselves. Meaning your greatest enemy is never your neighbor. It is the way that you think about yourself. Many people, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we condemn ourselves. We look at ourselves, our gifts, we condemn ourselves. We look at ourselves, we don't see dimples, we only see pimples. Why? It's because of our thinking. And because of that type of thinking, we're not able to break the limits. So one of the things that I'm going to challenge you today is to work on your mindset, the way that you are programmed. You know, one thing about the human mind, it's like a hard drive. Every time you hear something, you read something, you're adding information. And that information is stored and it gets to be played back. And this is the reason why, as long as you're investing in garbage, don't be shocked when your life is becoming garbage. Why? Because you are a product of what you listen to. You are a product of what you read. You are a product of the people that you interact with. So this is what I'm challenging you. What is in your mind? And when you print a document, you see an error on the document, it's never the problem with the printer. It's obviously the source. What is the life that is manifesting? Is it consistent with the life that you want? Meaning, if you don't like what you're seeing, you want to work on the source. That is the source of thinking. That is what is limiting you. Many people are afraid to go for their dreams. Why? Because the mind has told them this is not achievable. This is too big for me. And I'm asking you, if you are too afraid, you are not ready to live your dreams. If you are too afraid, too scared, you can't be able to amount to something in life. And this is the reason why I'm asking you to challenge your limits. And one of the things that I'm obviously going to repeat over and over again, stop blaming people. Take responsibility for your life. You know, many people, the problem is when we go through something, we experience something, instead of looking at our contribution, we obviously want to look for some people to blame. This is the reason why someone who is in debt right now, you're looking at other people as the reason why you are in that mess, but you're not taking time to look at the quality of your choices. I want you to be able to look at yourself and give a big yes to yourself. Meaning, if your life is going to change, if you're going to face any challenge in your life, you must be able to confront it. You must be able to say, I am willing to change. But this is the point which I want to take you now. There are basically 4 sources of limitations in life that I have realized. And these are the 4 sources. Number 1, they come from our backgrounds, how we are raised. You know, other people want to read over a moon, every time, read over a moon. And the next thing, that becomes normal. And on our minds, sometimes we condemn our children. Why? What we're doing, we're simply confirming a limitation. And many of the times we're condemning our children. We're speaking many things that we don't even intend. But one of the things that I've realized, many of us, we often even speak things about ourselves which sometimes we don't intend. So we realize our backgrounds, where we come from. And this is one of the things I have realized in life. You don't choose a background. You don't choose parents. You don't choose your relatives. You can choose friends, but you don't choose your family. But sometimes you find that the background where you come from, there is a certain way of thinking. This is the reason why in certain backgrounds, the normal thing is to be a passenger, to be a pedestrian. The abnormal thing is to be a driver. The normal thing in certain families is mosquito manero. The abnormal thing, the normal thing for certain families is all level or garapamba. Nothing beyond that. Why? Because that's a particular line. That's a particular way of behavior which is common. And that background gets to program you. It gets to create a certain limitation. And the next source of limitation that I found is you are limited by your associations. And this is the reason why I always say this. You hang around 9 broke people, you will be number 10. If you hang around people who are not going anywhere, definitely you're not going to be going anywhere in your life. Who is surrounding you? And this is the point that I always tell people. Why don't you hang around people who drive? Hey, driver, I'm sorry, why? Because you wanted to challenge a particular limitation. And change, you won't be able to drive. But this is what I'm challenging you. Introduce people in your life who stretch your thinking. Introduce people in your life who challenge you to be better. Introduce people in your life who are literally better than you, who you can look up to. And the problem with many people, we hang around people for a level. Nothing wrong with that. But this is a problem. You don't have anyone to lend to. Who is in your association? Who is surrounding you? That's why I always tell people, if you've got a best friend, always ask yourself, what is best about the best friend? Right now, some people, you've got small houses because of friends. Right now, some people, you're not sleeping at home because of your friends. Right now, some people, you've neglected your own children because of your friends. Who is your association? Why? Because people who don't add value to you take away value from you. What value are you getting from your people. I'm going to share a very interesting story about a certain gentleman called George Danzig. George Danzig was quite an interesting fellow. At one point in time, he scored a feat which I'm going to tell you. But this is